Welcome back to the Beyond the Locker Room podcast. Glad you could join me here today. We're getting into NFL reactions, week 1 reactions, and this is something I'll be doing throughout the season, breaking down some games and giving my thoughts on what I saw, what will come out of what the ramifications that come out of the particular games. So I'm glad you're here to join me. We're going to kick things off at Orchard Park. First game, last game on Sunday night. Fantastic matchup between the Baltimore Ravens and the Buffalo Bills. The two of the best quarterbacks in the league. The last 2 MVPs, if I recall, from Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen. And they delivered. The NFL is king. The NFL is king. And this is the reason why. They tell you what is going to happen, and they give it to you. They deliver it. And I thought this game was really had a certain tension to it from the jump. Obviously both teams had a lot to prove, especially the Ravens. And even though I won't go with the Ravens first, I'll start with the winners, Buffalo. They found a way to win, and I think that's something that Buffalo is starting to learn, where they're being much more resilient when they're down. I think Josh Allen the game is becoming easier for him, and he showed a lot of poise in me. I have never been the biggest Josh Allen fan. I thought sometimes he'd get happy feet. I thought he would be, I think at times he's been a bit erratic. I think the statistics prove me right on that front, so I don't think I'm saying anything that crazy. But I think somehow, I think from about maybe the second half of last season, right, and I think it showed again in game 1, a certain poise, a certain type of autonomy he has on the offense now that we're seeing, and how he's picking spots. He's really sharing the ball really well all season last year, which he did a great job of getting out to his receivers and mixing it up. And I think you saw that continuation in this game, where even though they're down, you never felt that he or the team felt panicked. And I think that's a great thing. I still have some qualms about a few things. I'll just say this with the offense, when it comes to the goal line offense, like guys, man, I don't know what's up with this Buffalo Bills coaching staff. Their lack of creativity down with the goal line is ridiculous. You have Josh Allen on your freaking team. Come on, man. We can't just do first down, second down. We're just gonna try to plow it in with no sort of option for anything else. It's just why are we wasting time with this when you could just either run the ball a different way because you have some pretty good running backs, or just throw it in this, which they did. I don't understand why they make life so hard for themselves all the time, waiting to get the third down sometimes for these goal line attacks. So I think that's one thing they got to clean up. That was an issue last year. At times it cost them the Chiefs game, and we see it here. We saw it a little bit in the Sunday night game. I think the other thing is obvious. The defense. It came on strong in the last half of last season. Obviously, they have injuries in the secondary. That are quite costly at the moment. Hamilton's going to have to do his best part to kind of hold that back line together. I think they've done a good. They're going to have to be in a lot of shootouts early in the season to kind of stem the tide till they get guys back. But that defense right now, yeah, it needs some work. It needs a lot of work. I think that's to say. I think I would put ditto on the Baltimore side as well too for that point. But overall, good win by the Bills. Bills fans, hey, they make you want to shout. Good on you, Buffalo, and congratulations on the win. Let's switch over to the other side of the field, the Ravens. Lots of good to come out of it. I thought Lamar played a great game. I thought he looked poised and together. Lamar's got 2 issues in my mind that are just killing him more than anything else. One, his coaching staff. And at least this much they learned so far in game 1. They actually got him moving and running some actual scripted plays for him. Whoa, what a shock. It's arguably the fastest running quarterback in the league. Might be nice to actually get him out there, get him outside. They mixed it up, and they actually decided to give the ball to Derrick Henry pretty consistently. Unfortunately, they gave it maybe one too many times to him because he decided to cough it up with a couple minutes left to go in the game. And let me tell you a pet peeve about it, folks. I have a few pet peeves in every sport, man. Point guards that can't run a half-court offense properly and can't find the hot hand drives me up the wall in the NBA. Or I should say, another one drives me up the wall is when a guy can't throw a post pass. It's like become a lost art. In the NFL, one of the things that drives me up the wall is like when you have a running back that's a physical running back that can't seem to turn the switch off when it's time to kind of just like, yo, lay down and just eat the 1 yard. You don't have to keep fighting for it. There is no reason for him to be fighting for anything. The moment someone started laying the helmet on him, just go down. Your biggest concern is to protect the ball at that point, Derrick Henry. Not for you to fight for 2 extra yards to help your average or whatever the case may be. Just lay down. I mean, and the thing is, when they're up 15, you had the feeling like, you know what, let me see what Baltimore's going to do to find a way to kind of sabotage themselves. Sometimes it comes with a big penalty, like a late hit, a pass interference. Other times it's like a pick or some atrocious play calling or drop passes, like in this case, like Mark Andrews last year. And then there was moments like this where it's a fumble, where it's like you're sitting here going like, that's the one thing you didn't want, that or pick. And it's like, I think Lamar, as I said before, his coaching staff has let him down, and quite a bit in the last year, his teammates have let him down. Be it Sage Flowers or Mark Andrews last year in the playoffs, or last night, Derrick Henry. Just like, dudes, man, they keep it simple, man. Keep it simple. You know, I get frustrated with that. But I think also, too, I said before, Baltimore's defense, that ain't playoff worthy, man. That ain't gonna get it done. So there's a lot of work for both teams as the season progresses. But as far as pure entertainment, NFL delivered. It was great. And that leads us into game number 2 I want to focus on. Oh, boy. Game number 2, Chargers, Chiefs, AFC West battle, arch rivals. It is a rivalry, even though it's kind of a rivalry. It's a one-sided rivalry, which is strange to say is a rivalry, but I think because of comments have happened in previous preseasons and early season prognostications, let's put it that way, of the Chargers and where Mr. Herbert sits in the pantheon of NFL quarterbacks, I think it's rankled Mr. Mahomes over the years. He's taken a few, subtle jabs, or maybe not so subtle jabs about where people see Herbert as a quarterback at the time. I'm sure that has not. I'm sure for Justin Herbert, he's recognized that as well too. So that game had a little more to it than your typical game 1, even though they are arch rivals. But there's folks had to be proving themselves. And I think for the first time I can ever recall in the Justin Herbert era, besides the first game he ever played, where I actually felt like, you know what, this time, you are finally worthy of the unduly undeserved praise that you get as a top line quarterback that people give Justin Herbert. I would say in this case, Justin Herbert going into the season is probably the most overrated player in the league. We'll see if he proves me wrong as the season goes on. But that's how I feel about Justin Herbert. I've never seen him as a top quarterback, yet his name gets thrown in there with Burrow or Lamar or Josh or, of course, Patrick and anyone else. And I'm sitting there going like, Justin Herbert, man, like, hey, as you know me, I refer to certain guys as Revlon guys. And Justin Herbert is definitely a Revlon guy. Stats might look decent, but when you sit there and watch the game, you're sitting there going like, what the heck is going on here, dude? Make a play. Out here looking panicky like you guy's head cut off and just scrambling around like a chicken with his head cut off sometimes. Like, make a play, do something, show some poise. So I will give him credit. He played well. He played fantastic, man. I mean, 27-21 win down Brazil. I mean, he was great. The ground and pound style, the Chargers, they had nice balance. Harbaugh had great balance going in there. He was, and he had confidence in his quarterback. Herbert was really tossing it around. I think on the Chiefs side, I don't know. I think this feels a lot like last year with Kansas City, like where there's a potency of Kansas City is missing now for about a year plus now. And I don't know, is just the fact they've lost so much on the offensive side. Is it also too maybe with Kelsey slipping it as a top line performer? Is it Mahomes? I mean, no one ever wants to question Mahomes and his skill, his ability, but I don't know. I'm not saying in this case here he doesn't have a ton to work with, but you do, I'm not sure what it is. Like he doesn't, like part of it, but how defenses are playing them. They're not giving the deep ball anymore, so they're playing underneath style more. But you would think even that people will learn like, okay, he can kill you both ways, so maybe you just kind of just try to play him straight up. But like there is a potency missing, and I'm not sure if everyone's kind of figured out Andy Reid's playbook, maybe, but 21 points, that's just about the amount they got last year a lot of times, where they were around a lot, 2018, 2017 games, 22-18 games, 22-17 games. Like that looked like a game that they had last season, but the defense wasn't up for the task. And that's something to watch for the rest of the season. Is this defense, I'm not saying that the Super Bowl exposed them, but I think, let's face it, man, they're all professionals. Every team has scouting departments. Everyone's watching. It's like, oh, geez, maybe we could take some of the stuff that Philadelphia did to pick this defense apart. Because, I mean, the Chargers were moving the ball pretty well throughout the whole night. And so that's something to watch. If you're Chiefs fans, keep an eye on that defense, man. That's something to be a little concerned about on that side. But props to the Chargers for getting that win. They finally kind of got the monkey off their back because they've been in close games with the Chiefs for the last couple of years and found ways to be self-destructive, missing kicks. Classic Chargers. Missed field goals is right up the Chargers' alley. I won't leave that there. Sorry, Chargers fans. Didn't mean to make things sensitive to you on that front, but they found a way to get it done. And hey, props to them. Props to Justin Herbert for doing his thing. The defense in this case played really well as well too. I want to give them some shout outs. And hey, Harbaugh's making a difference, man. He's giving them belief, which I think the Chargers always had talent. That was never the Chargers' problem. I think the Chargers didn't just believe. And one thing that Harbaugh is a master at, he's a master at making players believe. And that missing ingredient seems to be something that's now kind of starting to show through now. Now after being a year, heading up this team. So Chargers might be finally delivering on some of the promise that people have made over the years. So we'll see. Game number 3 I want to focus on. A game probably at first we may have had on the docket anyhow. But after the trade for Micah Parsons, I should say, it's must-see TV. So we'll head to Lambeau Field, and we'll go with Packers-Lions. It was really something to behold how much pressure that the Packers were putting on Jared Goff. I mean, Detroit is no team to mess with when it comes on offense. And the fact that they looked so rattled at times and looked so kind of stuck in the mud at points, when you see how much the speed and how much the Packers were able to get pressure on him. I mean, Parsons got his first sack. They were relentless on him. I mean, they just kept coming. And on the other side, Green Bay picked them apart and found their spots, and never really felt like it was like any concern in this case that they always felt they were in control of the game in my mind. Even though Detroit was moving it yardage wise, but it didn't seem that way. When you saw what was going on. So I think Green Bay's gonna be, as they get more comfortable. Green Bay, we might have to move Green Bay up the list, as like that next contender for, looking for the spot, like number 1 contender for Philly. Like this trade, it might be more impactful than maybe we thought at first. Detroit, I don't know, it was hangover too, that whooping they took last year in the playoffs with Washington, but you gotta watch. We have to watch, see what's going on here with Detroit. This is gonna be an interesting time with them, and see if this is a hangover perhaps from last year's loss in the playoffs, or is this kind of like, where Dan Campbell and guys are starting to kind of tune him out a little bit, which I'm not saying. I think he's done a great job, obviously. I think, once again, using that term, that word believe, I think he embodies that with his team, and he backs his players. I love that about him, as well as a lot of other stuff, how he sees his staff and stuff like that. So I'm from a personal standpoint, I like to see Campbell do well, and what he's done. I mean, as far as a tactician, that might not be really his strength, but I will say, he gets the guys going. I think he's I think that style of coaching sometimes does have a lease. Sometimes I do wonder in year 3 if this is where we start to see it kind of start to fall apart. But hey, as they say, it's early. It's early. So, folks, I think that I want to break down. This is something I like to do each week. Take 3 games, give my thoughts on them. Final thoughts, just to wrap things up. Overall, for week 1, a lot of teams that that were on the come up last year. I think you saw them take another step. I just mentioned the Packers. The Chargers was one that was kind of like lurking. That was that could take a step. I mean, Washington looked impressive. So maybe they too are another team that might be in that number 1 contender spot as well too. Hey, I will say this: Steelers put up 34 points. I'm no fan of number 8, but I gotta give him his due because Steelers usually barely struggle to get 20. If we get 20, we usually win. So for the Steelers to get 34 points, and it was the offense that had to bail out the Steelers this past week. Boy, didn't see that one coming. So lots of fun stuff for in the coming weeks. There's some teams that I think we have to watch out for the danger zone really early to check out. Miami definitely on that list. The Giants could be real rough going into the rest of the season. I think those are 2 teams to watch for where they stand. So yeah, but overall, really, really great for first week. Looking forward to next week. NFL season's back. Football's back. Fall weather is showing you it is back. And folks, stick around here. Come here to Beyond the Locker Room to check it out. Like and subscribe as always, folks. And I'll check you next time. Peace.